You spend your whole life being everything to everyone. A provider, a caregiver, a friend. Then one day, the house is quiet. The phone doesn't ring as much. The calendar that used to be full suddenly looks a little too empty. And somewhere in the stillness, you start to feel it, that quiet emptiness that so many people feel after 60. You look around and ask yourself, what now? See, no one really talks about this part. We prepare for retirement. We plan for the future, but we rarely prepare for the emotional shift that comes with it. After 60, things slow down. And for some, it's the first time in decades that there's space to actually stop and feel. And when that space shows up, it can bring questions we're not used to facing. Who am I without my job? Without the daily rush? Without being needed all the time? And let me tell you, if you've ever sat in your living room, feeling like the walls are closing in, like the best days have already come and gone, you are not alone. So many people feel this after 60. It's more common than you think, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. The truth is, that feeling doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It just means your life is shifting. And now, you get to decide what the next chapter looks like. In this video, we're not just talking about why so many people feel empty after 60. We're going to walk through how to reclaim meaning, real meaning. Because even if things look different now, they're far from over. Let's talk about what happens in this silent shift and why it hits harder than we expect. After 60, life shifts in ways that catch many of us off guard. You might retire, the kids move out, old routines fade, and suddenly, the life you knew for so long feels distant. It's not a loud change, it's quiet. But that silence speaks volumes. For years, your identity might have been wrapped in being needed by your family, your work, your community. Then one day, those roles slow down or disappear, and you're left wondering, who am I now? This silent shift can feel like a loss, even if no one talks about it. It's the loss of structure, of constant interaction, of feeling essential in the way you once were. And that loss, it can feel a lot like grief. That's why so many people feel empty after 60. Not because they've done something wrong, but because they've given so much of themselves for so long. But here's the truth. This season isn't just an ending. It's an invitation. A quiet moment asking you to look inward and ask, what does meaning look like for me now? That question isn't easy, but answering it might be the most important thing you ever do. So let's talk about why this emptiness runs so deep. That empty feeling after 60 doesn't just come from change. It comes from everything those changes represent. For decades, your life may have followed a rhythm. Wake up, get ready, work, help others, take care of things. Repeat. There is always somewhere to be, something to do, someone depending on you. Then slowly, or sometimes suddenly, that rhythm fades. You wake up and realize the days feel long, but somehow not full. The structure is gone, and with it, a sense of direction. You look back and see how much of yourself was wrapped in your responsibilities. And now that they've shifted, it can feel like something is missing. You may not say it out loud, but deep down, you wonder, do I still matter? That's a painful thought, but it's an honest one. And if you've ever felt it, you're not alone. So many people feel this way after 60, not because life is over, but because the roles they once filled gave them purpose. Without them, it's easy to feel invisible or like you're just going through the motions. This is why reclaiming meaning is so important. Because when life quiets down, you finally have a chance to ask, what do I want now? Who do I want to become? That's not an ending. That's the beginning of something deeply personal and beautiful. And it starts by learning how to find meaning on your terms. Let's explore that next. So how do you reclaim meaning after 60, when the structure has faded, the roles have shifted, and the world feels quieter than it used to? It starts by gently returning to yourself. For years, your identity may have been wrapped around what you did for others. Now, You have space to ask a deeper question. Who am I when no one is asking me for anything? That question can feel strange at first, but it opens the door to rediscovering parts of yourself that may have been buried under busyness. Start small. Think about the things you once enjoyed before life got busy. Maybe it was painting, writing, gardening, music. Maybe it was simply sitting in silence with a good cup of tea and letting your thoughts wander. You're allowed to go back to those things. In fact, you're invited to. As you begin reconnecting with what brings you peace, the next step is connection with people. So many people feel empty after 60 because isolation slowly takes hold. Friends move, loved ones get busy. Days go by without meaningful conversation. But we're not meant to live alone in our minds. We need others. We need laughter. We need someone who asks how we're doing and truly listens. Reclaiming meaning often begins with simple moments. Calling an old friend, joining a local group, attending a book club, or volunteering somewhere that feels purposeful. You don't need dozens of people, just a few who see you and hear you. From there, build a rhythm. Not the kind that overwhelms you, but a gentle structure that brings steadiness to your days. Wake up and take a walk. Write down one thing you're grateful for. Make lunch plans once a week. These small rituals add weight to your time. They give your days shape. And here's the most powerful part. Give yourself permission to start again. You're not too old. It's not too late. You don't need to go back and fix the past. You just need to give yourself the grace to begin now. This is your time, not to chase old versions of yourself, but to lean into the wisdom and calm and depth you've earned. Let's close with a thought that will help bring it all together. So here we are, and maybe you're realizing that feeling empty after 60 doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It just means you're in a season of quiet change and deep reflection. But here's the most important part of all this. You still have time. You have time to love deeper, to reconnect, to wake up each day with a sense of peace and purpose. Meaning doesn't come from big accomplishments anymore. It comes from little things done with full presence. It comes from being kind to yourself, from making room for joy again, from showing up in your own life, not out of obligation, but because you want to. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. And you're not done. The emptiness so many people feel after 60 is real, but it is not permanent. You can fill your days with what matters now. So take that walk. Make that call. Pick up that hobby. Say yes to something new. And remember, you don't have to figure it all out today. You just have to start. Because this chapter, it might be the one that finally feels like it's yours. And it all begins with one small decision: to stop waiting and start living again.